Welcome back. Dr. Aaron Chadwick here, part of Your Nutrition Physicians. And today we're talking about overcoming mood disorders. It's a very big problem we have in this world. People have a lot of issues with anxiety, panic attacks, being worried or fearful, depression, negativity, suicidal sometimes, insomnia, rage and anger, low self-esteem, self-criticism, obsessive compulsive disorder or behaviors, digestive issues. All of these here in the red relate to a deficiency of a very important nutrient in your body called serotonin, right? So serotonin is actually what we call a neurochemical or a neurotransmitter. That means it transmits nerve impulses in your brain. So let's talk about it a little bit deeper so you understand. And here's some things you can do. At the end of this video, you're going to learn some things you can do, some nutrients and some foods that are going to help you to overcome these mood disorders. So we have here two brain nerves or brain cells, okay? We have about 84 billion of them altogether. 84 billion, that's a lot of brain cells. And the functions of the brain nerves and cells is to transmit your thoughts. So when you have a thought, it travels along a brain nerve. It comes to a particular area. There's a space in between them. It's called the gap, the synaptic gap. And then that nerve impulse, that thought, jumps across one, and it lands in a parking space. So when it comes to mood disorders, something is going wrong in the brain, okay? And the brain nerves are affected. So what normally happens in a healthy situation, what normally happens is that you have this particular neurochemical, brain nutrient called serotonin, and its job is to keep you nice and calm and relaxed. So when we have good, healthy serotonin levels in our body, we feel positive, a positive mental outlook, we feel confident, we're easygoing. Some people say we're chill, right? We have a healthy appetite for sweets and alcohol. So the opposite is true if we don't have enough serotonin. We get cravings for sweets and alcohol when we don't have enough. So I'm saying that one of the reasons that people crave a lot of sweets and a lot of alcohol is because they have a deficiency of serotonin, okay? And again, I mentioned a lot of the symptoms that go along with low serotonin, and very, very common. Now, going back to the brain and how serotonin works, so the serotonin is made in the brain nerve, in the brain cell, with a particular protein. So your brain chemicals are made from protein. You've heard of protein like chicken, fish, turkey, eggs, beans, right? Whole grains, they have proteins. And proteins are made up of amino acids. So there's a particular amino acid, it's part of protein, it's called tryptophan. And tryptophan is a very, very important nutrient for the production of serotonin. Let me say it like this. Without enough tryptophan, you cannot make enough serotonin, so therefore you're going to suffer from a lot of these different situations. Now, you may be saying to yourself, well, I eat a lot of protein, Dr. Chadwick, and that may be true, but it's also in the digestion of it and the absorption of it. So you may be eating it, but are you actually breaking down your protein into the amino acids, and are you able to extract the tryptophan out of that protein to be able to go up to your brain to make serotonin? And that, if you're having these symptoms, then that is not happening efficiently. In other words, you're not making serotonin efficiently. Actually, serotonin some of it is made in your digestive system. That's why also some of the symptoms of low serotonin have to do with digestive issues, especially with slow-moving bowels. In other words, constipation has a lot to do with low serotonin levels. Now, there's a whole class of medications that are used to be able to help you with having mood disorders. We call them SSRIs. That stands for selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. It sounds kind of fancy, but let me explain. It's very, very simple. As your brain nerve cells uses the tryptophan from your foods or from maybe a dietary supplement, it's going to convert that tryptophan into serotonin with the help of other nutrients, and it gets built in the brain nerve. And as it needs it, it will come out of the brain nerve into the area, we call it the gap, right? And then it will kind of come over, that serotonin will come over and park over here on a parking space. So these serotonin molecules will park on the parking space. And what they do is they kind of slow down the thought processes in a good way. So they slow down your thoughts so you can be more relaxed and more chill. Again, some of the symptoms, being worried and fearful and overly thinking things, that's because those nerve impulses are moving very fast, and serotonin helps to slow that down. So that's an important thing. So the medications, excuse me, these SSRIs, they're designed, there's an enzyme here, right? We call that MAO, M-A-O. And this enzyme, what it does, it actually, once the serotonin is made, it gets put into this middle area of your brain cells, and then it goes to the parking space. Then this enzyme will break that serotonin down and send it back into the first brain nerve cell and remake the serotonin. So it's a cycle, okay? So some of the suggestions for you to help you improve your serotonin amount and then the way it works. Before I talk about that, let's go back to how the medicines work. They're called SSRIs, again, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. What they do is they block the enzyme so the serotonin doesn't get broken down, and you have more in the area between the two nerve cells, so you can have more serotonin, which helps you to be more calm. So they're pretty effective in that. But there's also more natural ways that can be helpful too if you're on an SSRI or if you're not. Let's say you're listening and you're watching and you just have some of these particular symptoms, but you're not on a medication yet. This is important for you right now. So what we can do is we want to be able to help our body make more serotonin. So the first thing we have to do is we need something to help the serotonin to park in the parking space, okay? So I didn't write it on here. I'm going to write it down here now. There's a particular nutrient that helps the parking space be well formed and function optimally. That nutrient is called vitamin D. So we need a proper amount of vitamin D in our brains to allow to make the parking spaces for the serotonin to work correctly. We call those parking spaces VDRs, vitamin D receptors. They're parking spaces for the vitamin D. When we have a good amount of vitamin D, we can make the receptors, the parking spaces work well. So when the serotonin comes across that synapse, that gap there, it'll park nicely and then signal the next brain nerve to kind of calm down, and that's a good thing. How much vitamin D do we need? Well, if you take a blood test, you want to have about 50 to 60 nanograms per deciliter. We just remember the numbers, 50 and 60 for your vitamin D in your blood test. That's a good amount to have of vitamin D to be able to have enough vitamin D to make your VDRs, your vitamin D receptors, okay? That's important. And these other nutrients here are also very crucial for serotonin production. Let me say it like this. If you do not have enough of these nutrients here, you cannot make enough serotonin. And you may be taking a medication, an SSRI, that's helping you, but that doesn't help you build enough serotonin. These help you make enough serotonin. So zinc, vitamin B6, there's a particular form of vitamin B6 that we call the coenzyme form or the activated form. So look for coenzyme B6. It's a better form. It's easier to digest than regular vitamin B6. Niacinamide, that's another B vitamin. So the B vitamins are very, very crucial. I heard a very good doctor a few weeks ago talking about sometimes we kind of pass over the vitamin Bs, the B complexes and Bs, because they don't cost a lot, or they're just kind of common, so they don't mention them too much. But they're very, very important. The B vitamins are very important for many functions, including how your body not only makes serotonin, but how it uses it. In other words, you need the B6, zinc, and niacinamide to help the serotonin be made. Our brain chemicals like serotonin and GABA and norepinephrine, they're made from foods that we eat. We typically get enough of the foods. We typically don't have enough of these nutrients to help your body convert those foods into the serotonin in this particular example. So we need zinc, B6, niacinamide, GLA. That's a big one. GLA, I like the one from evening primrose oil, but it can also come from other sources. But gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, is a crucial good fat to help the body make the serotonin work effectively. And it's a phenomenal substance that we do not get enough of. Probably, maybe only 1 to 2% of people in the world get enough of the GLA from evening primrose oil. I like evening primrose oil because it seems to be much more effective for making serotonin. There are other sources of GLA, such as borage oil or black currant seed oil. They're okay and they're good. I like evening primrose oil. Okay, so GLA is important. And the amino acid tryptophan, I mentioned that before. Tryptophan is crucial for helping your body make serotonin. It is what's called the rate-limiting amino acid in the production of serotonin. In other words, if you don't have enough tryptophan, you're not making your serotonin. So tryptophan is crucial to have that. And 5-HTP. 5-HTP is also a precursor to serotonin. In other words, 5-HTP also, like tryptophan, makes serotonin in your brain. The difference is that tryptophan becomes 5-HTP in your brain. And tryptophan has much more positive benefits in your body than 5-HTP. You can purchase both of them as a supplement, but I highly recommend tryptophan more than 5-HTP because the tryptophan has so many other functions. Matter of fact, tryptophan is the most important amino acid for building protein in your body. And what are proteins? They build everything. Everything solid in your body is made from protein. Your hair, your skin, your nails, your organs, your blood. It's all made from protein, and tryptophan is a big part of that. So if we don't have enough tryptophan, those areas will fail too. Let me say it like this. If you have problems and signs of serotonin deficiency, like I mentioned before, you're probably also going to have problems with your hair. Not being lustrous or shiny or very poor and even falling out. Tryptophan is important for that purpose. Nails and skin. Again, you need to have these very, very important nutrients for your hair, skin, and nails to be healthy. So if those areas are weak, you're not getting enough of these nutrients and you're not getting enough tryptophan especially. Okay. There is one caveat with tryptophan. In other words, one thing you got to be careful with. If you have brain inflammation, you should be careful with tryptophan. And how do you know that? Well, you know that if you have a long or lifelong issue with these kind of situations, and they're more severe. So you have more suicidal tendencies, very, very strong depression, you're very, very anxious and very panicky. You may have brain inflammation. So in that situation, we would not recommend the tryptophan. We would use the 5-HTP instead. But there's another way you can also tell if you have brain inflammation. We do a very sophisticated, state-of-the-art urine test that looks at the level of your brain inflammation. There's two particular acids in your body. One's called quinolinic acid, one's called quinurenic acid. Those are the ones that tell us if those are elevated, that you have brain inflammation. We would not use a tryptophan, use the 5-HTP instead. That's the only thing about tryptophan. But it's a great, great substance. As a matter of fact, you can take a 500 milligram capsule of tryptophan, open it up, and put it in your mouth under your tongue, and let it sit there. And do that every day for about 7 days, for about a week. Typically, in that time, You're going to feel better if your body's deficient in tryptophan. Just by doing that, you'll feel more positive, more confident, more easygoing. You won't crave sweets as much just by putting a little bit of tryptophan under your tongue. It's very, very good and very easy to do. So I'd highly recommend that. Now, sometimes people can get too much, right? It's not always more is better. That's not the case, especially in nutrients. It's always about we want to use the least amount to get a positive effect. So if you're gung-ho with tryptophan, you're taking 3,000, 4,000 milligrams a day, you could get too much of it. And typically when you get too much tryptophan, you're going to get some of the signs of deficiency. So you'll have like insomnia, you'll be moody, you'll be dizzy or lightheaded, you may have digestive problems. So a way to help you if you have too much tryptophan is just take some vitamin C for any adverse reactions you have to tryptophan. About 1,000 milligrams. I recommend the emergency in the packets. Put them in some water and drink that down. That helps a lot to flush out the extra tryptophan if you need to do that. So other than that, tryptophan is a phenomenal nutrient to help you with your serotonin, to help you overcome mood disorders. Okay? This is Dr. Aaron Chadwick, part of Your Nutrition Physicians. This is the first part of a series. We're going to be talking about mood disorders over our next 4 or 5 videos, so please stay tuned for that. Please hit the like button and follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on YouTube. You can watch us there and hit the notification bell so we can notify you when those other videos come up about mood disorders and many things. If you have any comments, please put them down below in the comment box. You can also go and check out our Digestion Correction Workshop at digestioncorrection.com. In the Digestion Correction Workshop, we take a deep dive into many different health aspects and different signs and symptoms. And we talk a lot about the digestive system, as I kind of alluded to today, that the digestive issues are related to a deficiency of serotonin. So in our digestioncorrection.com workshop, we go into much more details on how you can balance out your digestive system to make sure you're getting enough serotonin and many other important neurochemicals, brain chemicals. Okay? Until next time, Dr. Aaron Chadwick here, part of Your Nutrition Physicians. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time.